Hi folks, how you doing? It's James, JT at the movies, and I'm back again to do another update video, another haul video if you will, and this is everything that I've picked up since I did my last haul video, which was quite a big update actually, and I believe it was at the beginning of this year. It might have been just before Christmas. I know we're in May, where's the time gone? It's May 4th, happy Star Wars Day to you, and you'll have to let me know in the comments what you're watching for Star Wars Day. I watched Force Awakens this time. I actually enjoyed it last night, as this evening I'm out later performing with one of the bands that I'm in. But that's not what you've come to see today. You've come to see what I've picked up since basically the beginning of the year. As folks know, I moved house recently. This is a new movie room for anybody who's maybe not been to the channel for a while. And as you can see over there, they're still sorting out going on the other side of the camera. I decided to completely revamp what was on the other side of the room, and I'm going to make it a room that I can not just store films in and display films in, but also watch films again. So it's a little bit sort of under construction, if you like. And then also at the far end of the room, there's decorating still to be done, because where there was a built-in cupboard in the house, we've actually had that all demolished, and a new landing and a new set of stairs built up into the loft bedroom that's above this room. So that side of the room sort of really needs some TLC quite soon, but fitting it in around work and commitments is always a challenge, as I'm sure we can all appreciate. But as I say, you've not come here to hear me talk about what's going on with the house move and a general life update. You've come to see what I've picked up since the beginning of the year, and by my standards, it's not that much, but there is still quite a lot here to go through. So I'm not going to hang about on the majority of these titles, otherwise we'll be here all day. But as always, I'll start with DVDs. I'll move on to Blu-Rays, special edition and boutique Blu-Rays, and then finally any 4Ks that I've picked up. There's only a couple of 4Ks in that time that I've picked up that you've not already seen. So let's dive into some DVDs, shall we? So actually the first DVDs I'm going to show you here are some TV series. I don't regularly pick up TV series, but if you know me, you'll know why I've picked this up. So it's the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, the Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, and these have been really hard to get a hold of, and I would say verging on being out of print. In fact, I would say they are out of print in the sense of they don't make them anymore. They're not constantly reissuing these. But recently, about maybe a month, 6 weeks ago, a store of these came available on Amazon, and they had all 3 seasons. I initially bought season 3, and I watched the episode where Harrison Ford comes back to play Indiana Jones to bookend the adventure. But then thought, when they were on for just £15 a piece, well, I might as well collect the whole set and have the whole thing, given how much of an Indiana Jones fan I am. So far I've only watched that episode that Harrison Ford comes back with, and one of the other episodes on that disc. I've not delved into volumes 1 and 2 yet, though I'm particularly interested to take a look at volume 2. Because if I'm not mistaken, there on the front, that is a young Daniel Craig, so I'll be interested to see what role he plays in that, sort of in his pre-Bond days and pre-Fame days, I would say. So yeah, they're the first pickups. Also getting used to the feel of this room and the new sort of layout for doing this. Normally I'd be sat in my chair, but I haven't got a chair in here at the moment, so we're standing up to do it. The next DVD that I got this in a local charity shop, Moneyball. I've heard a lot of good things about this and thought for £1 in a charity shop, I'd check it out, and that's Punch Drunk Love. If I do like it, I might end up getting the Criterion. Surprisingly, didn't have this in my Robin Williams collection within the wider film collection, and that's Flubber. I picked this one up at CEX. My good mate and bandmate Phil works in a local CEX. So I'd popped in one night to see him before we went to a gig, and had a few minutes before the store closed, which was lethal for me because I was just in there shopping. But this one was Judgement at Nuremberg. Yet to watch it, but I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen this one for a very, very long time. Oh, it's a bit of glare there. We'll keep the title over this side. And it's the Jack the Ripper TV movie, like mini-series that they did with Michael Caine and Lewis Collins back in the day. I remember watching it when I was probably a young teen and enjoying it. It was one of the ones that Dad put on. Going back to Daniel Craig again, I picked up Archangel. I don't know anything about this. I just sort of picked it up really on the back of him leaving Bond and him sort of been in the news and, you know, sort of the hot topic at the moment, if you like, sort of thing. I got this one in CEX as well and picked it up for Robert Downey Jr. It's The Singing Detective. This next one I actually just picked up yesterday, and I was really glad that it had a physical release. I didn't know that it did, and actually thought that it was a Netflix exclusive, which is where I first saw it. I had a really, really good time with this film. It's called Good Time. It stars Robert Pattinson and Jennifer Jason Leigh, amongst others as well. And it starts as a bit of a story with two brothers. One of them's he's sort of mentally handicapped, and then his other brother, played by Robert Pattinson, who's the lead of the film, is a thief. He's a criminal. And the pair of them are sort of starting on what's meant to be a bank robbery, and then it just sort of goes from there, and they end up on this sort of adventure, if you like, for want of a better phrase, sort of trying to make things sort of work out for them. And it's just crazy how that film unfolds. I had a great time watching it. A really, really great modern film. I was putting my Nicolas Cage collection away because, like I say, behind the camera here, I'm building some new shelves, not too dissimilar to what's going on over here, to better store some of my special collections, like actor collections and Arrow and Criterion, that sort of stuff. And I was putting my Nicolas Cage films out and realised that I didn't have Moonstruck. I picked up as well Mona Lisa. I picked this one up for the cast, really. Michael Caine, Kathy Tyson, Robbie Coltrane, Bob Hoskins. You can't go wrong with that. And those DVDs nearly fell on the floor then. That were almost an outtake, but I shall leave it for you. But you can't go wrong with that cast. And the same can be said of this film, which I've yet to watch, but the trailers look fantastic, and I love all of the leading ladies in this, in the things that I've seen them in so far, and that is the 355. Again, I got this in a charity shop. It was still sealed, and I haven't watched it since I was a kid, but used to enjoy watching this with my grandparents. That's Disney's Treasure Island. It might well be on Disney Plus, that. I haven't actually checked, but I'm trying not to rely on streaming for obvious reasons. I'm a physical media collector, but it can be quite easy, can't it? Me and my friend Phil do a podcast, and we're not doing it anywhere near as regularly as we did through lockdown, because obviously we all have lives and we have time and the freedom to enjoy those lives again. But we've decided once a month we'd still like to keep up to it. So we just did an episode that's going to be coming out this week to sort of celebrate Star Wars Day, Star Wars Week, for The Phantom Menace. And when we watched it, rather than coming up here and getting the Blu Ray, I was actually ashamed of myself midway through when I realised what I'd done. I just went on Disney Plus and streamed it. And it's like... So yeah, I'm making a conscious effort to make sure that I still put me discs in. I got a new 4K player yesterday, because the one I've had since basically get-go, there's something up with it. It doesn't play right, and I reached out for support within the community and actually managed to find out what the problem was on Reddit, and realised that my player was buggered. But I've got a new one, and surprise, surprise, everything's fixed. But anyway, enough about that. That's not what we're here for. I picked this one up after I saw it mentioned in a TikTok of all places, and again, the cast is just stellar, and that is the Newton boys, Matthew McConaughey, Ethan Hawke, Skeet Ulrich, and Vincent D'Onofrio. Again, solid cast. Inside Llewyn Davis, Pan's Labyrinth. I thought I had this, and a friend asked to borrow it, and I went to get it and was like, oh, I don't have this film. So when I saw it in a charity shop, I thought, why not? There's another CEX one here that I picked up, and that is The Sacrament. It just looks like a cheesy horror film, and I'm all in for a cheesy horror film. Another film now that I haven't seen since I was a kid, and that's Free Willy. Picked it up because it's still shrink wrapped, still in the cellophane, so it made sense to me to grab it. John over at Movie Collector actually recommended this to his viewers on the channel when he did a review. He'd picked up the Blu-ray, but for me, I thought the DVD would be more than sufficient. And that is Jude Law and Carrie Coon in The Nest. The prequel to the Kingsman series, The Kingsman. Haven't watched it yet. I'm looking forward to watching it. And another one to add to my Sean Bean collection, The Black Death. No idea whether this is any good or whether it's terrible or not, but I thought, do you know what, why not? We'll have a go. And some of these ones here, when I've got them from a charity shop, there's a charity shop, Sue Ryder charity shop down the road from where I live, and they're selling these at £5 for £1. So, you know, you're paying 20p a disc, so it's all right to take a bit of a gamble, a bit of a punt, if you will. Again, picked this one up for the cast, not a film that I'd heard of, but Donald Sutherland sold me, and that is The Eye of the Needle. And this one is called Wuchi not the Dragon Slayer, Wuchi the Demon Slayer. Don't know anything about it, but it was in that same thing. So I remember when I went in the charity shop, this was the one that I wanted, and it was going to cost me £1 either way. So I thought, well, is there anything else that I fancy? And I think Free Willy was one of them. This was one of them, and then The Pleasure Drivers was another one. And yeah, like I say, if it's going to cost me £1 anyway, I might as well take a bit of a gamble and watch some stuff. But that's all the DVDs that I picked up. So we're going to move now into some Blu-rays, which I shall just bring forward here in front of me so that I don't knock them all over the floor like I nearly just did then. The first one I picked up back in February, I've still to watch it, and that's House of Gucci. Picked this one up yesterday. Very much looking forward to watching this. I know it's got an absolute slating, and folks, I'm aware that objectively it's probably going to be terrible, but I really enjoy these sort of like disaster, end of the world sort of really crazy action plot films that Roland Emmerich does. You know, your Godzilla's, Independence Day, 2012, whatever. I enjoy them. What was the one that he did not so long since? Geostorm? Got an absolute rinsing, and I had a great time with it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that one. This one I upgraded because it was £1.50 in CEX, and to be fair, the DVD is one that I come to fairly regularly. This is one of my sort of like easy watching action films, if you like, and that's The Bank Job. This was £1, and so I thought, well, I'll give it a go. Again, my mate Phil, my other bandmate Ruben, my sister, and quite a few people that are in my sort of circle of friends and people that I socialise with regularly have sort of talked about this film, and it's never a film I wanted to give a go. I was never interested. The whole family went to see it when it came out, and I sort of stayed behind and went, that's not going to be for me. Anyway, I finally sort of relented, and I got for £1 the Blu-ray of Les Mis, so at some point I will check that out and see what it's about. But yeah, hearing the guys and my sister talk about it when we've been out and, you know, at gigs and at the pub and stuff like that, and the enthusiasm for it's just sort of, I don't know, flicked a switch, and I'm like, I'll give that a go. So we'll find out. Maybe I'll report back. This was the strangest thing. So I've got all the other Pirates of the Caribbean movies on DVD and had no real intention of getting the latest one on Blu-ray when it came down cheap enough in price. And I got the 5th one, Salazar's Revenge, for £2 on Blu-ray. And this was from CEX. The DVD was £3.50. So I thought, well, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? I'm not gonna buy the lesser quality format for more money. I picked this one up. There's within my band and my group of friends, there's a lot of quotes and a lot of references that we all make, and they sort of almost become, you know, like every group of friends or family or whatever, you have your own in-jokes, don't you, based on things. And this is a film that gets quoted all the time, and I've not seen it since its release. We're back in, was it 2015, 2016? I watched it when it came out then, but didn't have it in the collection. And it's been quoted that much by all of us that I thought, do you know what, I need to give this another go, and that is Legend. I got this in HMV yesterday. They've got a section that's sort of like the best of British, and it's A Matter of Life and Death with David Niven. Thoroughly enjoyed this next one, absolutely adored it. When I first sort of started getting into horror and slasher and thriller movies, the Scream movies were some of the first ones that sort of as a young teen I was allowed to watch. And I remember having the DVD box set, the like sort of the flip up envelope, one of the 3 Scream movies, and then getting them on Blu-ray. And anyway, I was cautiously optimistic when they said that they were going to do a 5th one this year, and I'm like, really? And then they said that the original cast were coming back, and then for me, I loved it. It was everything that a 5th Scream needed to be if there was going to be a 5th one. Is it a redundant sequel? Of course it is. All the ones after the first one are redundant, aren't they, really? But if you like just cheesy popcorn slasher fun, turn your brain off sort of thing, then it's as good as the rest of them. I ended up actually seeing this in the cinema twice. I went with my cousins and my sister and my girlfriend, and bless him, my granddad quite likes these films as well. And he's like, oh, I would have liked to have come, but I didn't want to cramp your style and whatever else. So we ended up taking granddad to the cinema to see Scream 5, Scream. The next one I picked up was actually a purchase over the weekend. So I've got all of these films. It's the Harrison Ford collection on Blu-ray that contains Frantic, Presumed Innocent, The Fugitive, possibly my favourite film of all time. It's up there with Last Crusade and License to Kill, Firewall and 42. Now, I'd actually come to try and watch Presumed Innocent recently, and I've got the old sort of snapper case DVD for it. And I was going to say, can I grab it to show you it? Is it? No, it's not easily accessible, and we're not gonna make a detour. Either way, it's the old snapper case DVD. It's worn to buggery, and the when it comes on, it's sort of like that down the middle of the screen and really poor quality. And I thought, do you know what? It's time to upgrade. So I had a look, and on Amazon to get the film individually was like, I don't know, 17 quid on an import Blu-ray, or 15 quid, and you got all of these as well. So not only do I get to upgrade that, but I get to upgrade Frantic, Firewall, and 42 as well. So it seemed like a no-brainer. I've heard a few people griping about the packaging on these next couple, but it's not bothered me. The first being Death on the Nile. I really enjoyed the first one, Murder on the Orient Express. I've not seen the one from 1978, is it Peter Unistov version? I have got it somewhere behind me on there in P for Poirot. Yeah, I've not actually I've not got around to watching it yet, but folk have said that is pretty much the definitive version, and that this one's okay, but not, sort of not amazing in comparison. I had a good time with it. I understand there's been some story changes made along the way, and sort of incorporating characters that maybe weren't there before, like the character of Book from the first one, and I enjoyed it. What can I say? This next one I've not watched yet, but I've heard great things about. Again, it's in a really slim case, like the American style cases. I don't mind these at all. I understand for sort of like the uniform look on the shelf, and that we've had these thick cases for as long as Blu-Ray's been about, and then you can see there's obviously a sizable difference. But that's never bothered me, hasn't the sort of thin or thick case thing, so long as you can read what's going on the spine, and it's not a complete detriment to the being able to see what's on the shelf sort of thing. But if anything, if they go like this, you get more on your shelves. This one's Nightmare Alley anyway. I've yet to watch it, but again, looking forward to doing it. And then this one it came as a recommendation in one of the Facebook groups. I think it might have been James Millership that put it up, and apologies if it wasn't you, James, and if it was somebody else. But it was reduced to, I think, like £4.49 for Under Siege and Under Siege 2. So yeah, decided I wanted to upgrade that. I love those films, both of them. In fact, they've both been on ITV recently. I think ITV4 or something. I ended up catching a bit of Under Siege 2 the other day, and I'll quite often watch Under Siege 1 whenever it comes on, if it's just, a bit of easy watching or whatever. Let's have a look now then, shall we, at some boutique Blu-rays, some special edition ones. The first one I picked up day one that it came out. I have seen this many times. This was the first ever horror film I ever saw, and was the film that sort of made me want to start exploring scary films and sort of the thrill of it. And so I was really, really happy to see 101 do a release of the McPherson tape. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to sitting down watching that again. You're probably thinking with this update, God, James, you bought all these films and you've not sat down and watched any of them. And yeah, to be fair, I'm falling behind a bit, I'm slacking a bit, but we've had that much going on, like I say, with the building work and the recording the album with the band, which we've finally done all the recording now, so it's just into the mastering and mixing stage, which is obviously a lot less hands-on for me at least, so it awards me a lot more free time than I've had, and quite a busy gigging schedule as well, so it's just finding the time. But it's all sort of evening out now, and I've got a nice chunk of time coming off work as well, where I'm going to play catch-up on a lot of these as well, so never worry. The next one I picked up is an Arrow Academy release, and the synopsis, the blurb on this really grabbed me, and that's The Conspiracy. I also picked up Madman, so another one to add to my Arrow collection there. I got this next one from Phil's work, and it was one that I've been looking at in HMV for a while, and it's 11 quid in there at the minute, and this was £6, but it's got the slip cover on this one, whereas in HMV, or at least in my HMV, it didn't, and that's Death Screams. Really like that slip cover there with got the mouth, and obviously it sort of swallows the artwork and stuff like that. It's rare that I see Arrows with slip covers about. I also picked up DEFCON 4. And then I picked up as well Ghoul. This one's a BFI title. It's the last of the special editions that I picked up, and I picked it up purely for Tommy Lee Jones, and it's a film called Blue Sky. And then that brings me finally to two 4Ks that I picked up. I picked this one up over the weekend as well from Amazon, the same time I ordered the Harrison Ford box set, because it came up for some reason recommended. And I've had this film on DVD since pretty much I started collecting DVDs around 2008. And when the sequel and the sort of the tie-in film came out for it a few years ago, I toyed with upgrading it, and then thought, well, you know, it's sort of one of them where I undernard and then never did. But I thought, you know what, for such a good price on the 4K, I had to pick up Unbreakable. And then I would say probably the sort of the most anticipated release for a lot of people in recent weeks. I absolutely adored this film in the cinema. It was, to me, fan service and a superhero movie done to the letter. Absolutely right. And that was Spider-Man No Way Home. I know we're probably in safe sort of territory now to talk about spoilers, but I shan't in case you haven't seen it. All I would say is check it out. There are some really brilliant moments in that film, and for comic book fans, there's some sort of like moments of all time in there, and I'm really excited to see where they go with like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness next, and other things now that they've sort of opened that door, opened that can of worms, if you like. It's gonna be difficult for Marvel to keep up to that, so I'm gonna be really interested to see where they go next. So there we are, folks. That's everything that I've picked up since pretty much the beginning of the year. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave your comments down below and drop a thumbs up on the video as well. Of course, that lets me and YouTube know that you like these sort of videos. In the comments, tell me what you think of the films that I've picked up. Is there anything that I should be getting to straight away, or is there anything that you'd recommend to me based on what you can see of my my taste in film at the moment? If you are new to the channel and this is your first time seeing me, hello, nice to see you, and I would love to keep you around for further videos, so please do hit that subscribe button so that we can keep in touch on further videos. And above all else, folks, as I always say, take care of yourselves, and look forward to seeing you again, hopefully a bit sooner than the distance between this video and the last in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.